Let's just see how many fish in the sea there are, shall we? Hello, women, come for me. The likelihood that I will find them attractive. Hey guys, it's Rose and welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan and another mukbang. We are back with Munching Mondays, which is my mukbang series. Mukbang is an eating show, for those of you that don't know. And we just sit together and we chat and we eat. So if you want, you can grab a snack and join me. And if you enjoy mukbang videos, of course, don't forget to subscribe. Today we have a bit of a random meal. Once again, I've got a Beyond Meat sausage with some sourdough bread, because I don't have any hot dog buns, okay? So I have a little sourdough piece of bread here and some Follow Your Heart vegan cheese. I think it's Follow Your Heart, or is it, what is the brand? I think it's called something different. I think it's called Earth Island in Canada, but I think in America it's called Follow Your Heart, but it's melted, it's delicious. It's like a vegan cheddar. So I have that. And then I also have some air fried fries. So these are fries that I made in an air fryer. And I just have a little salad here. And this is breakfast, guys. We are having breakfast. So we're gonna have some coffee. I got this giant thing of coffee here. I have my Harry Potter mug. I solemnly swear that I am up to no good. Guys, I actually bought this at the Harry Potter Studios in London. I think it's slightly outside of London, but this is when I was living in London. I went to the Harry Potter studio where they filmed Harry Potter, and it was so cool. Let's have a sip of coffee. Hello guys, good morning. I think I need to fix one of my lights here. It seems a bit dark. What do you think? Anyways, okay, let's just dig in. I've got ketchup, of course. So I think I'm starting to run out of ketchup. Not good. Daniel came and ate all my ketchup. Oh my God. Don't you hate when Come on, I need an even spread. An even spread, come on. Okay, that's probably as even as I'm gonna get it. I also have some Dijon mustard. I also have some relish. All right. Whew. So this is the Beyond Meat sausage. Let's take a bite. That's really good. I've had it before, but God, it's messy. I've had it before, but not actually in I guess this isn't even a hot dog. I haven't had it in a hot dog form. I just don't buy hot dog buns because I don't eat hot dogs often. But next time, I'll eat it in a hot dog bun. So this is just a salad with my vegan Caesar salad dressing. If you guys need the recipe, link down below. Oh, food is so good. So, guys, today, I thought I'd talk about more vegan topics. Even though last time, I apologize for the sound. I did not know that the mic was on amplify, okay? I'm sorry, it was not intentional. But anyway, last time, because you guys seem to enjoy me talking about the vegan related topics, I went on Instagram and I asked people, what would you want me to talk about? Like something related to veganism that I could talk about in a mukbang. Got a lot of comments. It's kind of like a Q&A, I guess. If you guys watch my videos like regularly and you watch most of my videos, you probably know where I stand on a lot of things. But, you know, it's still interesting to talk about. Anyway, here's a close-up. Got this Beyond Meat. It has like a casing, like a sausage casing, which is kind of disturbing. The texture is very like sausagey, and it has like a very distinct taste, like a herb sausage. It's very good. I think this one is the Italian. I feel like when it comes to sausages, there's a lot of legit vegan ones. Because like, what is a sausage anyways? Just like a casing of like random bits and pieces of meat. Ugh. Oh. Anyway. Alright, so the first one that I'll talk about, what do you think about eating oysters? Ooh. So, the oyster topic is a very interesting one. If you guys don't know the oyster argument. So basically, I'm vegan, and that means that I oppose the unethical treatment of animals, and I try my best to basically reduce my impact and reduce my involvement in the exploitation of animals. So that's like my thing, okay? And then the question is, then people ask, oh, like what counts as, like where do you draw the line? You know, this is where a lot of people will say like, plants feel pain, you know, that kind of stuff. A lot of people will say, plants feel pain, therefore you are a hypocrite. Because basically what vegans do is we say, well, if you care for like other humans and dogs and cats, then like it's hypocritical for you not to care about cows and chickens and pigs because they are also, you know, sentient beings. That is the distinction, guys. Sentience. Sentience. And this is why the plants feel pain too argument is not relevant, because plants are not sentient beings. Okay? There are living beings, and then there are sentient beings. There's a distinction. Sentience means that you have some level of awareness of what's going on. I don't know the exact scientific definition of sentience, but basically you're not just a living being, okay? You're not just, that's why they call it a vegetable. When somebody is like not responsive and not aware, they call those people vegetables, okay? I think that's partially why that is a term, because you're still living, technically, but you're not sentient. Also, the whole plants feel pain too argument is just so dumb. But if somebody tries to argue that with you, first you can hit them with the sentience, and then you can say, Even if you were to say that plants can feel pain, even though the majority of scientific community will say, no, they are not sentient beings. They might respond to certain stimuli, but they're not in any way remotely close to being sentient beings. Regardless, let's just assume that, yeah, we found out that plants also feel pain. Well, guess what? Animals need to eat plants to grow to become our food. So if we're growing a cow, how much does a cow need to eat to grow, get fattened up? So the argument doesn't work regardless, because even if you were to go with the assumption that plants feel pain, then you would be doing even more substantial damage, not only to the billions of animals that are being exploited and killed, but also to the plants, the countless number of plants that will be killed and exploited so that we could eat animals. Instead, we can just, I mean, unless, again, like the only other alternative argument would be to like say that human beings should just die off, but I don't think people would make that argument. Anyway. So then the topic of oysters comes, okay? Cheese. Look at that. Then, the reason why people bring up oysters is because they say that oysters do not have a central nervous system. And therefore, I could be wrong. Therefore, they are not sentient beings. That being said, the last time I mentioned this, there were some pretty good comments for the case of not eating the oysters regardless. I think that they are a little above plants on the level of sentience. But I'm not sure, again, I'm not a biologist. If there's anyone that's a biologist, please let me know. Basically, the argument for eating oysters is that, well, they're not sentient. And you're eating plants. Oysters aren't really that different from plants, so therefore it is ethical to eat oysters. I really don't know where my opinion is on this topic, but what I do know is that, well, I avoid oysters and those things just for consistency. I think I said it before, just because like it is in that gray area and I don't want to, I don't know, maybe it's a bit stupid, but I'm like, I don't really want to like, I have lettuce on my teeth. I don't really want to like eat oysters and people are like, why are you eating oysters? Do you know what I mean? And it's not like I'm like dying to eat oysters, you know? I did eat oysters before, and mussels and stuff. Are mussels in the same category? I think they are. I ate like quite a few, you know, I was really into seafood before, and I ate oysters before, and I ate mussels before. I don't eat it anymore. I'm not like craving for it or dying for it. It's not something I'm like, I must do it. So I'd rather just be consistent and just like be vegan. But at the same time, my opinion is that if it is true, again, I don't know the full facts here, but if it is true that they are not sentient and they're pretty much on maybe a similar level to a plant when it comes to their level of sentience, then I don't see an ethical issue with it. Although I can't remember the other arguments. People said some arguments that were kind of convincing. I can't remember them. Anyway, so I avoid it, but if someone were to come to me and tell me that they're having all these doubts about a vegan diet, or they're having health problems on a vegan diet, I would say, well, why don't you just eat oysters or mussels? That's what I would do if I started feeling like, and I never have, but if I started feeling like I needed, I don't know, some kind of magical nutrient that only comes from animals. I mean, look at that texture. Have you guys tried the Beyond sausage? I definitely think I like the Beyond Burger more, but this is pretty good. And I think I like the Beyond Burger more because I just like burgers more than like hot dogs. So basically, if I were to start having health doubts, you know, like, oh my God, I'm gonna die as a vegan because I am deficient in everything, which I'm not. First things I would do, maybe get a blood test, you know, test out what's deficient in my body. And second thing I would do is, if there is something deficient, figure out how I can get it from a vegan source and talk to, you know, professionals about it. And let's say that for some reason I was like, I can't absorb these nutrients. Oh my God, it has to come from an animal. In that case, my first choice, my first thing that I would try would be mussels and oysters. Because of the fact, if there's anything that's closest to plants that are still kind of counted as animals, it would be that. And I would still feel like I'm still doing my best at trying to minimize the harm that I'm doing to animals that we for sure know are sentient beings. Do you know what I mean? So instead of just going full out and going back to eating animal products, like just whatever, I would probably just choose to eat, you know, oysters or mussels. That would be my kind of methodology. I'm not encouraging people to do this, but I just don't get why there's like so many ex-vegans that, you know, at least once had a connection to the animals. And I feel like my first instinct, maybe it's just not talked about in the vegan community enough, but my first instinct would be oysters, mussels. Okay, let's try this first. So that's my first instinct would be to try to do things in a vegan way. And then if I thought I couldn't be vegan anymore, my second choice would be, okay, maybe oysters or mussels. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I actually made these yesterday in the air fryer. So they're not as crispy, but they're still tasty. You know when your like fries are a bit soggy? I kind of like it. Next. Okay, a lot of people ask me about palm oil. So this is another gray area. Guys, you guys really love the gray area topics. I have 2 videos on gray area topics. Seriously, there's palm oil in everything. There's palm oil in everything. I'm not gonna lie, I do consume palm oil for sure. Technically, it's not a, you know, it's not an animal product, but I have heard that, you know, it is supposed to be very bad for the environment and for the animals that live in those environments. I'm wondering if there's any sustainable way of making palm oil. Sometimes I feel like we're doomed sometimes because we are so entrenched in this capitalist society that if we fix one problem, it's a very micro problem in a macro world. What? What am I saying? You know, we're doing all this stuff to try to promote veganism, but at the end of the day, we're still going to be participating in industries that still exploit, you know, the environment and, you know, orangutans, all that stuff. Yeah, I don't actively avoid it. I would say though that because I don't eat too much processed foods and I make a lot of food from home, I naturally don't eat it that much, but I definitely don't actively avoid it. Am I right? Probably not. Should I be avoiding it? Probably. But then if I avoid palm oil, then there's a whole host of other problems And I don't know where it stops, you know? People say avocados are really bad. People say, you know, bananas are from exploitative conditions. I don't know. Once again, this mukbang took a dark turn. I don't know. Anything like junk foody in the vegan world, maybe not just in the vegan world, but so many things contain palm oil, you know? So I don't know. I sound selfish now. I sound like a non-vegan. But yeah, I always say I need to do more research about palm oil, but I haven't done it. And I think a part of it is because I'm afraid to know. Next. You guys let me a lot. Okay, I'll answer this one because I think I get this question so often, which is having relationships or dating people that are not vegan. I get this question all the time. They're like, would you date a non-vegan? I think I covered this in one of the other episodes that I did. But I said that if I were to only date vegans, I would just be living all by myself for the rest of my life. It's really sad because on one hand, I do want somebody that is aligned with my ethics and morals and all that stuff. And it does bother me, don't get me wrong. It's hard to navigate as a vegan, you know? It's already hard to be vegan just yourself, but then the way you perceive others shifts in a way when you go vegan. So then you start to think, oh, is that person like a bad person because I'm showing them and I'm talking to them about animal rights and ethics, yet they're not batting an eye, they don't care, and they're eating a steak in front of me? Like, those questions arise when you are dating somebody that's not a vegan, okay? And so you get this like internal conflict because you're like, okay, on one hand, you know, I like this person, you know, we get along, we're great, fantastic, you know, in every way, we're good. But then on the other hand, it's like you have that other issue with, you know, are we actually aligned when we don't have these similar values? But then you also have to think about, we live in a society where it's 99% not vegan, okay? So humans are not necessarily evil. I'm not going to say that people that lived within the era of slavery, they were evil, okay? I think a lot of them probably thought that they were just, you know, just living life, you know, doing what everyone else is doing. What everyone else is doing is seemingly appropriate and morally acceptable. When it was acceptable to not allow women to vote, that was the morally acceptable story that society told us until somebody else challenged that. And veganism is very difficult because the people challenging it are not the ones that are being oppressed. So we're not shouting as much as, you know, I mean, we are shouting, but the number of people that are shouting are not going to be as much as the women's, you know, rights, okay? Because half the population, they're women, okay? There's a lot of women that can fight for their own rights. These animals cannot speak, so humans have to speak on their behalf. And there's less people because a lot of us are inherently selfish, unfortunately. And we do have, even if we're not completely selfish, we have selfish tendencies, myself included, of course. And because of that, we don't necessarily do like as much as we can to fight for the rights of beings that wouldn't impact us, you know? So, what was the original question? Oh, dating, relationships. So, relationships are hard. They're hard already, and then you add the element of veganism in there, and it's like extra hard. Because I get it. Like, I almost get both sides of this, like, it's not even an argument, but I get kind of, there is a conflict. That is the problem. There's always this conflict. Do I go with the societal kind of norm and kind of like infiltrate into society as a vegan? Or do I do the radical route and only date vegans and only be friends with the vegans? I'm kind of in between. I don't buy the notion that people that are not vegan are evil or that they're just bad. Because like I said, there's, you know, most of the world is not like this. And humans will just go with the narrative that whatever the most of the world is doing is acceptable. That's not a morally justifiable narrative, but that's the narrative that humans go for. So people ask me, would you date a non-vegan? I think I said before, I've never dated a vegan. It's never happened in my life. I'm already picky enough as it is, okay? If I have to narrow down my search to less than 1% of the population, it's so difficult. Okay, for like 1 million vegan women, there's probably like 10,000 vegan men. I just guessed that number. I just threw it out there. Don't listen to me. I want to do some math. I don't know if you guys watch How I Met Your Mother, but there's an episode where Ted and Barney go to a matchmaker because I think Barney wanted to like hit on somebody through the matchmaker or like meet somebody through the matchmaker. But Ted wasn't interested in using the matchmaker, but he just went with him, I think. When he was there, the matchmaker looks at Ted and is like, so like, what are you looking for? Like, I can definitely work with you. And Ted's like, oh, no, it's fine. Like, I don't need your help. There's plenty of fish in the sea. And then the woman pulls out a calculator, is like, let's just see how many fish in the sea there are, shall we? Starts calculating how many women there are in New York, and then just narrows it down. And in the end, the result, 8 women. So let's see. Shall we do a little analysis here? So my city where I live, what is the population? 1.3 million, okay? Let's say half are men, right? Half are men. How many are likely to be in my demographic? That's hard to say, isn't it? How do I search this? Age demographic. Okay, it says 70% of the population are between the ages of 15 and 64. That does not help me. That doesn't help me. I'm gonna be extremely generous and say 20% are within my age demographic. That's extremely generous, okay? That leaves me with 130,000 men, potentially. Out of those men, how many are gay? Percentage of gay people. Only 5%, 4% of men. I think that's... Sorry, my mayo bottle was making noise. 9% of men. I'm gonna go with that 9% because it sounds more realistic. So let's say 90%. So that's 117,000 people. Okay, 117,000. I feel like I was too generous with the 20%. Out of these men, I will say 0.5% of them are vegan, which is already probably not true. It's 585 men. Out of those men, the likelihood that I will find them attractive. You know what? Let's stop this game. This is depressing. So what I'm saying is, okay? What I am saying is, it's very hard to just only date vegans. So, that is the dream. You know what I mean? The dream. But realistically, it ain't gonna happen. I think realistically, you can convince them to at least kind of go plant-based. Oh God. If I was a vegan man, whoo, I'd be like, hello women, come for me. Honestly, if you are a vegan man, I think you would not have any problems because there's so many vegan women. I think that should be the next step in our activism. It's like, how do we get men, like more men, into this movement? Not just for my own selfish gain. And not that it's a problem that there's so many women that are vegan, but we need more men to lead by example like this as well. Because I feel like men, you know, we're still in that era of our lifetime where male ego is a big issue, okay? And it stops men from doing a lot of things. Apparently a lot of men don't recycle because they think they're gonna look gay. That's just one example, okay? So, if you got a world where there are still a significant portion of men not wanting to recycle in fears that they're gonna look gay, we have a long way to go, my friends. I think we spent a lot of time empowering women, which was absolutely necessary and it was a great thing. But then we didn't spend enough time, you know, focusing on the male issues, which there are lots, and they trickle into other parts of society. The perceptions of the male stayed the same because, you know, we focus on empowering the women. So the women kind of rose up, but then the men still have that same, maybe similar mentality. Am I making sense? Probably not. Anyway. So a woman that is acting a little bit more powerful is starting to be seen as, you know, good, you know, boss woman, you know, all that good stuff. But a man in a less powerful position is still seen as less attractive and less desirable. And because we've never really like dealt with the issue of, at least not to the extent, we haven't dealt with the issue of male ego and male pride and the male issues that come with all of those things. I don't like the term like toxic masculinity, but maybe that's what I'm talking about. I don't know. But basically like the notion that man has to be like X, Y, and Z. And if not, we're not going to find that attractive, or, you know, they're going to have a hard time in society. That kind of stuff needs to be shifted. Now that we've like empowered women, let's talk about other issues too. But anyways, wow. Society. Fun! Love talking about society. Okay guys, so that is it for my mukbang. I am so full. That was a delicious breakfast. Next time I might actually get a hot dog bun because like, I mean, that was delicious, but it was a bit messy. Okay, it was a bit messy. I answered, I think 3 of the questions. I know I didn't answer too many, but I have a lot to work with for the next times I do mukbang videos. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, of course, don't forget to subscribe. I'm gonna link down below a playlist called Vegan Talks, where I basically discuss vegan issues and, you know, just questions I get about veganism, topics surrounding veganism that I'm interested in. I'm gonna link that down below if you guys are interested in hearing more about what I have to say, okay? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!